Everybody, welcome back. We're on the final page of 6.3. That's page 12. We have three more examples to do for 6.3. So let's look at the first one, or sorry, the second one here. Question B. It says y squared minus 20 over y squared minus 4 plus y minus 2 over y plus 2. So we're nothing we can do with the second rational expression, but the first one we're going to do is we're going to factor that first. So when I factor the denominator of y squared minus 4, that becomes y minus 2, y plus 2. The numerator looks like the difference of squares, but it's not. Remember, that would have to be 16, 25, 36. It has to be a perfect square. It's not. So that actually can't be factored. It's finished. So in the same step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a common denominator. The denominator that's actually going to be common is the denominator that's in the first once we factor what's in the first rational expression, because they both have a y minus 2, so we just have to multiply over here by x minus 2, or x plus 2 as well. So whatever we do to the denominator, we got to do the numerator, so make sure of that. So it's going to be y plus 2, and we'll do the same in the numerator. Oh, that was a y minus 2 because it was a y plus 2, my apologies. We have y minus 2, and we have y minus 2 again. So the denominator is the same. If you don't like that this one is different, so we can just swap them, that's fine. That's no big deal. Okay. And now we can add the two fractions because the numerators are now, or sorry, the denominators are now the same. So we literally just get rid of this, and what we're going to do is we're going to add the y minus 2, y minus 2. Right? So now what you're going to do, because you couldn't factor this, you will have to multiply this out in order to collect like terms, because you can't just leave it like that because it could simplify. Alright? So I know it didn't say that, but that's something that we should be doing all the time, simplifying when possible. So I'll recopy this. So this is y minus 2 multiplied by y minus 2, which becomes y squared minus 4y plus 4, right? So it's y multiplied by y is y squared, negative 2y multiplied by negative 2 multiplied by y minus negative 2 multiplied by y gives you negative 4y, and negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 is positive 4. So now we're going to collect like terms in the numerator. Alright, so when we collect like terms, what we end up with is we have 2y squared, so we have y squared and y squared, so we have 2y squared, and then minus 4y, and then the negative 20 plus 4 gives us negative 16. Alright? Now, you're going to factor the numerator, hoping that we're going to be able to divide out any like factors in the numerator and denominator. So if you guessed that, you would be correct. So I'll recopy this, and we'll write it right here. Okay, so that factors, again, you can factor the 2 out right at the beginning, right? And leaves you with y squared minus 2y minus 8. So factor out a GCF first, and then it just makes it easier to factor. Alright, and then two numbers multiplied together gives us negative 8, added together to give us negative 12. I'm going to go to the left just because I'm running out of space. Alright, so that gives us a 2 bracket y minus 4 y plus 2. Alright, and again the plus 2's we can get rid of, right? And again, I'm just going to go to the right of this just because I'm running out of room. That equals, I'll recopy this. And the y plus 2 is gone, it divides out. Okay, and y plus 2 divides out, and there's your final answer. Okay. And that can't be simplified any further. And again, you can do your non-permissive values. I'll put them up top here. And the non-permissible values are x can't be equal to, and you guessed it, -2, +2. You can do plus or -2, or you can do, you write them both there. It doesn't matter. Okay. So a little bit going on in that one there. It's not too bad though, but a few steps definitely. But if you follow your rules and you go do it the best you can, you'll be fine. Okay. The next one's a little interesting. We have the 1/4 minus x. What I recommend right away is factor the -1 here to get an x, because you notice when you're going to factor this, you're going to have the x plus or minus a number. So I do recommend that. It'll be easier to get a common denominator. Just it'll be easier for you in the end. Okay. So I'm just going to steal a fraction here quick. The 1 is the numerator. Alright, so that's going to equal 1 over, and like I said, factor a negative, so it'll be negative bracket -4 plus x. So what I'll do is I'll rearrange this to x plus 4, or x minus 4, sorry. Okay, so they're equivalent. So I just factored in a -1, or just a negative value, and that can go in the numerator actually. I would recommend it, just so it, alright, so this is equivalent to this, okay? And like I said, I do recommend that. And then we're going to have subtract. We need another fraction here. So it's going to be 1 over, let's factor the denominator. And you guessed it, it's x minus 4 bracket x minus 4. Okay? So the common denominator is easy for this one. All we need to do is with the first term, the -1 over x minus 4, all we do is add an x minus 4 to both. And you'll be 100% correct in saying that. This one's not too bad. Okay, so we have an x minus 4, and then the numerator has to get an x minus 4. And brackets are extremely important here. If you don't put the brackets in, it'll get messy quick. So now what we'll do is we'll add in the -1 and create one denominator, right? So we'll add the -1 to here. So if you want to multiply this out, you can. I do recommend that. So -1 times x would be -x, and a negative multiplied by a negative gives you a +4. And then you're subtracting the 1 from that. Okay, from here. And collect like terms in a numerator. Finish off the question. And we get -x plus 3. -x plus 3. And you can factor a negative out if you want to look like it doesn't matter. Like, it's up to yourself. So if you wanted to have the negative factored out, and at x minus 3, that's fine as well. It's all good. It's all the same. Okay? And remember, x can't be equal to 4. Let me see here, right? So remember, I'll grab my x can't equal. Remember, x can't equal +4. Alright? That's it. It's all finished. That can be simplified. Next one's is a fun one. You guys know what I mean when I say it's fun. So you have to do it twice basically. You got to do the numerator, and then we're dividing. So it's combining basically what we learned in the last section with the new stuff. So I'm going to put it here just so we have some room. So this becomes, I'm going to rewrite it for us. So insert just away. Actually, I'm going to start this one from scratch because it's going to be there's going to be a little bit to it. So I'm going to get my fraction. So it's going to equals. All right. So it's going to equal, and it's going to be a fraction over a fraction, right? So got a little bit going on here. So bear with me. Plus another fraction. Just copy that numerator. So that's what you're going to end up with, which is pretty neat. So we got the 1 here, right? That was out front. And that's going to have to get multiplied by an x over x because the common denominator is x here. so it'll be 1 over x. Alright, so basically multiplying by the 1, that is gone, so it's just going to be x over x, right? So we have to switch the 1 to x over x. Same with the denominator here, but this one here, this time is going to be x. It's actually going to be x squared, right? Because it's already x here, so that'll be x times x, which is going to be x squared. So it's x squared over x, and then it's minus 1 over x. Alright? Equal to, so we common denominator 1 plus x is going to be x over 1, or sorry, 1 plus x over x, or x plus 1 over x. Alright, so we're going to insert that fraction here, so it's going to be x plus 1 over x, and then the same thing here, x squared minus x over x. So it's going to be minus 1, and then I can get rid of that. That might be a quicker way with my computer. So there we go. And then now we're kind of at a standstill. So remember what you learned with dividing. When you divide, you take the reciprocal, you multiply by the reciprocal. So this is actually going to equal. I'm going to insert. I'm going to do it right from scratch like I did before. It's going to equal. So, and I'm going to put brackets in here. Brackets are so important with these. So the numerator was x plus 1 over x, that whole thing. And now remember it was divided by this. So now we're going to switch that to multiply. So we do a little bracket. And then we take the reciprocal of the whole denominator, which was x squared minus 1 over x. So it's going to be x over x squared minus 1. So I divide by the multiply by the reciprocal of this whole denominator, because it's a fraction within a fraction. So the x divides by the x, right? That x in the second rational expression divides by the x in the denominator of the first one. So this becomes simply, I'm going to steal this one, and it's going to equal x plus 1 over x squared minus 1. Now, some of you may have factored already, and you're saying, sir, how come you didn't factor? I just find it's hard to factor with these division ones. You might get lost, there's more in it. So now I'm going to factor. So it's going to equal, so insert equals, so the x minus 1 obviously can't factor, but the denominator is a difference of squares, so it's x. It's going to be x minus 1, x plus 1. So the x minus 1 divides with the numerator and the x minus 1, which leaves you with 1 over x plus 1, because the x minus 1 here divides this one. And if you want a bracket there to see it, that helps you. It's up to you. It doesn't make a difference. But that x plus 1, sorry, that x minus 1 divides with this x minus 1 and becomes 1 over x plus 1. Okay? Which is pretty neat. Now remember, because you're dividing them, so not only can x not be equal to 0, it can't be equal to 1 either, because if you put a 1 here, right, it's going to be 1 subtract 1 over 1, which would be 0 as well. So there's a couple of stipulations on this where x can't be equal to 0 and also 1. You need both. Okay, so there's your restrictions right here. Or restrictions. Okay, so just be careful there. And that's it. And the homework questions that are associated with this are on page 336, numbers 1 and 3 through 10 are some good practice with these. Okay, really work on these because you're going to need these for pre-cal 12 and for calculus. This algebra here, I know it's tough, but you're going to need to practice it. So we'll see you in the next video. Now we're going to start solving some equations with these. Thank you.